The Fever, as you mentioned, took on Brazil back in Iowa. Caitlin's logo shot. I mean, she outdid she logoed the logo. Now they got to put a new logo down. And so does everybody else. The ratings for this game were 1.28 million. The game was on ESPN. It peaked at 1.6, and she only played like 18 minutes. Wow. So the Caitlin Clark effect is back.
What would happen if one of the greatest basketball players ever saw the WNBA's most talented young athlete being singled out? Sue Bird's shocking comments will teach you through questionable tactics. Alyssa Thomas's actions against Caitlin Clark have fundamentally altered the basketball world. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a professional athlete face the kind of discrimination that Caitlin Clark has experienced? Sue Bird's observations, however, the Phoenix Mercury game has drastically altered her opinion of the WNBA. This aspect of Sue Bird's perspective devastates Alyssa Thomas. Sue Bird is exactly where Caitlin Clark is right now. Sue Bird was the top player in a league with incredible athleticism from 1982 to 1986. Her opponents tried to physically intimidate her since they couldn't match her extraordinary basketball intellect. Sue Bird did, however, draw attention to this crucial point, which makes Alyssa Thomas's reputation noteworthy. Sue Bird is conscious of the difference between her experiences with Clark at the championship level and her observations of competitive basketball. She remarked, "It was the most cowardly act I've seen on a basketball court in many years." You heard properly, yes.
Access to Indiana, which I think everyone agrees right now has gone from, a team that made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. They were building all these young pieces, of course, Caitlin Clark, to now an immediate contender with all the moves that they've.
What would happen if one of the greatest basketball players ever saw the WNBA's most talented young athlete being singled out? Sue Bird's shocking comments will teach you through questionable tactics. Alyssa Thomas's actions against Caitlin Clark have fundamentally altered the basketball world. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a professional athlete face the kind of discrimination that Caitlin Clark has experienced? Sue Bird's observations, however, the Phoenix Mercury game has drastically altered her opinion of the WNBA. This aspect of Sue Bird's perspective devastates Alyssa Thomas. Sue Bird is exactly where Caitlin Clark is right now. Sue Bird was the top player in a league with incredible athleticism from 1982 to 1986. Her opponents tried to physically intimidate her since they couldn't match her extraordinary basketball intellect. Sue Bird did, however, draw attention to this crucial point, which makes Alyssa Thomas's reputation noteworthy. Sue Bird is conscious of the difference between her experiences with Clark at the championship level and her observations of competitive basketball. She remarked, "It was the most cowardly act I've seen on a basketball court in many years." You heard properly, yes. Athletes like Alyssa Thomas, in her opinion, have everything that may be detrimental to the sport. The veteran basketball player proved that the WNBA is in a precarious position. They have two options. Either they use dishonest strategies to stay relevant, enabling superstars like Clark to reach their full potential and improve the league as a whole, or they keep allowing poorer players to shield and spotlight their best players. Sue Bird made it very evident that the league's future will depend on the choice selected. However, everyone is arguing this subject. Will the WNBA follow suit? Will they continue to allow athletes like Alyssa Thomas to utilize questionable methods to harm the league's brand, or will they follow Sue Bird's advice to keep Caitlin Clark safe? Let's continue the conversation in the space provided for comments below. What are your thoughts on Sue Bird's harsh critique of Alyssa Thomas's behavior? Do you think she's being too critical, or do you think her worries are totally legitimate? More importantly, do you believe the WNBA will eventually move to protect its biggest star? I read every single comment to see more analysis, so please feel free to express your thoughts in the space provided below. For anything like this that breaks through the clutter and clarifies what's truly happening in basketball, be sure to press the subscribe button. Press the button to activate the warning bell. Sue Bird's contentious comments might affect Caitlin Clark's WNBA circumstances. The basketball community is monitoring this issue. Ignoring one item gets harder. Discussions are no longer restricted to a single game, a single flagrant foul, or a single contentious incident as the story progresses. It has to do with women's basketball's future, the standards the league hopes to maintain, and how its top players are handled when they are in the public eye. Few athletes have ever had to cope with the kind of expectations that Caitlin Clark faced before joining the WNBA. Millions of spectators watch every game she plays, every move she makes is examined from every perspective, every success is acknowledged, and every failure attracts media attention. That's what it means to be among the most well-known figures in modern basketball. In the meanwhile, veterans from all throughout the league continue to compete at the top level, bringing years of experience, perseverance, and pride to every match. The WNBA wants to make sure that intense competitiveness never leads to harmful or unnecessary play. Fans demand intensity. They look for rivalries. They want respect, equity, and stability in addition to real basketball. Given that Cheryl Miller is nobody knows what it's like to perform under pressure, thus her remarks have generated much discussion. Throughout her incredible career, Sue Bird faced some of the most fearsome opponents and defenders in women's basketball history. However, her message went beyond just being tough. It was about upholding the integrity of the game and ensuring that basketball skill, rather than controversy, remains the major focus. Whether you fully agree with Cheryl Miller's point of view or think the situation has been overstated, there's no doubting that her remarks have sparked debate. What should happen when the league supporters, pundits, and former players are still at odds on whether the top players should be the focal point of physical play and media figures? EO authorities should be more stringent. Should the league impose more severe sanctions? Or is this just a typical aspect of playing basketball professionally? Everyone appeared to respond. A different approach. Caitlin Clark's response is unquestionable. Her concentration has not wavered on basketball rather than allowing physical defense, controversy, or criticism to define her career. She continues to compete, show up, and demonstrate why so many people think she is the sport's future. Her perseverance is one of the primary reasons her followers continue to support her. The WNBA is becoming obsolete. Pay attention. Television numbers are skyrocketing, stadia are filled, and social media debates are growing every day. And new audiences are discovering women's basketball for the first time. As the season goes on, these situations affect not just a particular player or team but also how the league is perceived internationally. Each game will gain more significance. Every game that Caitlin Clark participates in will be closely watched. Every controversial play will be analyzed. Every official ruling will be contested. Every game will add to the narrative of one of the most talked about seasons in the WNBA. The most crucial question is now. You believe that Cheryl Miller's statement sums up the league's current situation? Do you believe the WNBA is protecting its players sufficiently while permitting aggressive, competitive basketball? What consequences do you anticipate in the future? What impact will this whole situation have on Caitlin Clark, Alyssa Thomas, and the league? In the space provided for comments below, kindly express your opinions. I truly want to know what basketball fans throughout the world think. Your point of view could be featured in a future movie, and courteous discourse is what makes our community so amazing. Remember to hit the subscribe button, enable alerts, and never forget to upload again if you enjoy this conversation and would like more in-depth basketball analysis, original news, and the most significant articles about the WNBA, NBA greats, and Caitlin Clark. We appreciate you watching, so keep that in mind every night. We write the history of basketball. This is where you will find out about the next chapter, which could be even more important. Make sure nothing is missed in comparison to this one. Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Subscribe and enable all notifications to make sure you don't miss anything. We'll see you after you click the video on the next one. Display.